Good afternoon, Lisa.
Good afternoon, Andrew.
Doctor Who, Season 8, Axos 2. That well-known football result.
Right.
You didn't really watch Doctor Who in the late 70s, did you?
No, it was on the wrong day.
But I remember the football results coming up on the teleprinter and just thinking, get on with it. Doctor Who should be on. All those numbers coming up with silly names like 455 and East 54.
I remember seeing the football results, so because we were over my grandparents at the weekend.
Yeah.
So I guess after the football results, it must have got turned over.
Because you didn't see Doctor Who?
No.
You was robbed.
I was. It's most unfair.
8 million people tune in to see the Axons.
Okay.
Quite right too. Episode 2 though. So we're into, from a sort of restoration team point of view, it's quite interesting because we're into 525 line territory now.
All right. Okay.
But of course the opening scene exists at the end of part 1, which is 625 line. So this episode's a bit of a sort of cobbled together job from various best sources. And of course you've got the studio tape stuff as well. I can't remember how much studio tape there is for episode 2. Not much, I don't think, but never mind. But of course the whole hodgepodge of season 8 in various formats is one of the reasons why season 10's coming out on DVD earlier than season 8 is.
Yes,
because more of season 10 exists in 625 lines.
Even if they have had to re-colorise episode 3 of Planet of the Daleks.
Again. Paul Grist as Filer. The notes say he's in Survivors as well as Blake 7.
Yeah.
So I remember him from Blake 7.
He's in Blake 7 twice, I think.
Is he in it? I know he's in Gambit,
He's
isn't
in
he?
Gambit.
Yeah, what else is he in?
Perhaps I'm thinking of somebody else.
Probably you are. But I can't think of him. I can't place him in Survivors.
I think he's in season 2. We haven't seen much of season 2. We must watch the next episode because we watched the first episode of Survivors for reasons last week. So we should watch episode 2.
All right.
I'm doing well so far. I've watched the first episode of Survivors and I didn't get a cold.
Okay. All right.
It's most unusual.
We'll do that when we get to the podcast. Yes. But yeah, who's this other sergeant that's knocking around? Did you notice?
No.
There's a second sergeant, and it was not Benton.
Okay. Perhaps Benton's doing something else.
Yeah, but later on, when Benton gets promoted, sort of the joke is that unit can't even afford to replace their captain, and Sergeant Benton becomes Sergeant Major. But
warrant officer, isn't it?
Warrant officer, but at this point, you've got at least 2 sergeants knocking around.
Got enough money at the moment.
Now we've seen a couple of episodes of Come Back Mrs. Noah, and we should, of course, point you towards our Come Back Mrs. Noah video. Is Donald Hewlett coming across any differently to you?
Yes.
Seeing him in a sci-fi environment.
Not quite so much of a silly ass character in there. He's more.
Because we said that in Come Back Mrs. Noah, he is exactly playing.
He is playing
as he does in
the Colonel
in Ain't Our Hot Mum, but in this he is different.
He is different.
So it's unfair to say he only plays sort of one type of part.
Obviously, perhaps he was directed to play it exactly the same way, or perhaps because he's doing it with Michael Knowles, they just fall into that routine.
That's their routine, I guess.
So.
The line from the minister, "You're our man on the spot chin," makes me just think of him having a spot on his chin. You see, I don't know whether any. And this whole thing about Axonite being distributed in a worldwide trade agreement.
Yes.
So given sort of political sort of trade things at the moment, that did make me grin. The Axon lady.
Yeah.
When she sort of depersonalises, and the implication is she's going to start to turn into the sort of tentacly version.
Yes.
But the effect doesn't really quite work because all it looks like is that she's being played by Les Dawson, as she does a sort of gurney thing with her face and her mouth sort of goes back in, doesn't it? This I'd never really picked up on. The idea that Axon... Well, I mean, I've read the book, but the idea that Axos sucks energy from its environment And to indicate this, they've stuck a withered bush in front of the camera.
Well, it's winter. It just looks like it's dead because of the winter.
Until the production notes pointed it out, I never made that connection.
No.
I just thought it was a horrible place to film anyway.
Yeah, it's desolate, isn't it?
What you need is a line to point it out.
Yes.
Somebody needs to, at some point, say that Axons... Axos is already drawing the energy out of bushes and things like that.
Maybe if the grass had been painted brown.
Yeah. Maybe if you'd seen the bush before Axos had landed, and then later on you see it again, that might have given it away. But I've never ever made that connection.
Being dense, obviously.
Yeah, clear. Well, somebody's trying to be a bit too subtle, and sometimes the audience needs it pointed out to them.
Yes.
Hurrah for Tim Pigott-Smith.
Yes, love Tim Pigott-Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though he's just credited as Tim Pigott in this, isn't he? I think.
I don't think. No. He's got the full thing. I think. But of course, later to reappear in Mandragora.
Yes, with a bad wig.
With a bad wig. You get the cut-in shot of Filer when he's being replicated, but it's not entirely clear what's going on at that point.
No, I mean, they do take him to the replication.
But
centre.
He's just sort of stood there with all lights all over his face, and I suspect it's one of those images that would stick in your head if you were a kid watching it.
Maybe,
but I wouldn't necessarily assume you knew what was going on. What's happening to him? Is he stood in the middle of like some Top of the Pops sort of disco effects or something like that? So I just put what's going on. Turn the page. Picture. I love the fact they've got a black and white picture of Pigbin Josh.
Yes.
Yeah. So clearly the unit photographer has been called into action, whoever he is.
Or Yates and Benton have done it.
Maybe Benton carries it, or Yates carries a special camera for when he wants to take photographs of things that attract his attention. But A, it's a black and white photo, and B, do you know what it made me think of? That tramp in the War Machines again.
Yeah.
Because if they'd taken a picture of him going, we'll put him up on our wall of celebrity dead tramps.
Celebrity dead tramps.
It's another one for the wall, They're slowly building a collection of dead tramps. Yeah. Jo likes Filer, doesn't she?
Does,
yeah, she says, no, he can't be dead.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of thing she'd later be saying about the Doctor, isn't it? So, there's a bit of hoo-hoo-hoo maybe going on there for Filer if he plays his cards right.
Yeah, it's not going to happen, is it?
Is it not?
No, it's not enough time.
All right, okay. The replication thing, the actual replication shot, though, is extremely well done, I think, for the time. Because you've got all this overlay stuff, but the fact that a second Filer just walks out of the first one.
Yeah.
And, you know as well as I do how difficult it is to do that sort of stuff, especially in sort of 1971 sort of camera technology. I think is really and again, it's one of those effects that's so well done. Nobody notices how good it is.
No, it's just
you always notice the bad effects, but when something as good as this is like so casually pulled off, and so well done to everybody for that. And I like Jo getting arsey with Chin as well, because she does really stand up to him.
She does.
About your contemptible, underhanded deal. It's almost a line that you can imagine Pertwee delivering, but I like the fact that Jo gets
Jo gets it, yeah.
So, people say that early Jo is a bit, not necessarily always sort of the best written, but I think that's a lovely little moment for her. Yeah.
She's obviously developing a very strong opinion about these things.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the contact with the Doctor that's doing it.
Yes.
Even though he's possibly not the best example in this story.
He's still grumpy. But yeah. Then I have to sort of flag up how good Delgado is in the next scene.
Yes.
That he's sat on the floor, he's being snuggled by a load of silly tentacles, but he's still utterly convincing as the Master, isn't it? There's no playing that this I look silly or anything like that.
No.
The camera's up high, so he's not in a commanding situation.
No.
He's being held captive, so the Master's in a fairly sort of lowly position at this. And you've got these silly claws.
Yes.
But Delgado, utterly straight.
He does. Yeah. He is, yes. He's a superb actor.
Nice shot of the reactor, with the reactor in the middle and the you know, the extra bits of set that you never ever see. But again, great little shot, and again, almost thrown away because it is so well achieved. I mean, later on in you know, even by the time you get to sort of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, these are not the easiest shots to pull off necessarily.
No.
Because you've got
especially when you've got people
shots.
moving around in the middle of it.
Exactly, yeah. So, you know, well done. Spot the Keller machine panel again. Clearly, it's a standard piece of technology for the 70s, you know. And yeah, the dial with the light speed indicator. Yeah. I love I don't love the fact, but you know, this whole thing about we accelerate to light speed, and then the line, once beyond that, hang on, wait, explain how you achieve this. But the fact that it's not a digital display, it's just a silly dial that like it's like a sort of petrol gauge or something like that.
It's mechanical, isn't it?
Yeah, the fact that there's a spring or something in there to indicate like because it could get stuck or something. You'd be tapping at it. And why does it only go up to 6? What happens if they get up to 7? Does it ping out on the spring like in a cartoon or something like that? So yeah, I from a sciencey point of view, that should have been a digital thing. But, yeah. And the fact that it's like green up to light speed 1 and then pink for the rest of it. It doesn't go into red or anything. It just goes into pink. Yeah, it's a very easy thing to say once beyond that point. But the whole point about light speed is that it is a limiting factor in physics, because the more you accelerate something, the heavier its mass becomes. So to accelerate to like half light speed is so difficult, but to accelerate then to 0.8 of light speed is a hell of a lot harder. 0.9 light speed is much harder again. 0.95 light speed is much harder again. 0.99 light speed, but you can never actually get a physical object up to light speed. Just the way he says once beyond light speed, you know. It's not like it's like 30 miles an hour and you just put your foot down. There is a very good book, Mr. Tompkins in paperback, which is well worth looking up, about what would happen in a universe in which the speed of light was 30 miles an hour or something like that. Because policemen would like change shape as they got on their bicycles and pedalled after you or something like that. Well worth looking up. Okay, the Eye of Axos. Let's talk about the Eye of Axos. Lisa, you're a lady. Do you see anything in the Eye of Axos?
It looks a little bit rude.
A little bit.
But this is a recurring thing.
At least it's only hanging down from the ceiling.
It's not coming out would have been worse, I think.
Or if it like moved up and down, that would be even worse, wouldn't it?
But yeah.
And a quick mention here for the spin-off fanzine from the Star Begotten team, Weird, which was their Viz equivalent. The front page of it was Ace and the Seventh Doctor looking at the Eye of Axos. And the Seventh Doctor goes, "Look out for the Eye of Axos!" And Ace just goes, "Are you sure that's the eye, Professor?" Yeah.
Yes.
But let's talk about the soundtrack very briefly.
Yeah.
And everybody sort of always remembers the heartbeat of the, you know, in the Dalek control room. But there's a similar thing going on here with Axos, which is this sort of weird electronical breathing thing. Which again, until you like listen out for it, or
I can't say I heard it really. Okay, I will listen out in the next episode.
Me doing it then, it sounded more like Ivor the engine, but never mind. But yeah, listen out for it. I like the idea of Pertwee being sort of spectroscope, might as well use the magnifying glass. And again, it's never quite explained what a spectroscope is.
Yeah.
Do you know what a spectroscope is?
I don't know.
Spectroscopy is how, for example, helium was discovered in the sun.
All right.
Because this whole thing about if you take light from the sun and split it into a prism, you get the spectrum, right? and you've probably seen this on physics programs, you get absorption lines in various places, all based on what the atoms are.
Right.
So, I forget, I'm a bit rusty on spectroscopy when it comes to it, but I've used infrared spectroscopy, where you can tell what the bonds between sort of atoms and things like are, like CH bonds and OH bonds and things like that. But yeah, helium was discovered in the spectrum of the sun before it was ever discovered on Earth, because there was a weird absorption line that nobody had ever observed before.
Right.
And it is called helium simply from Helios, from the sun.
God of the sun.
Yeah. Now, of course, we can find helium on Earth, although it's quite rare. And
Stop using it for balloons.
Yeah, stop using helium in balloons, because it's got much more important uses than that.
You can use something else for balloons, can't you? What else can you use for balloons?
Well, you can use hydrogen if you really want to, although it explodes.
Hydrogen would be dangerous.
Yeah, but anyway.
Just don't do balloons.
Balloons are a waste of helium. The whole thing about the pulsing walls in Axos as well. And I like the fact that they were mains powered, so the unions had a problem with it.
Who gets to switch it on? And
full marks for the production notes for using the phrase wall throbbers. Have you ever had a wall throbber?
I've never had a wall throbber.
I must have.
It sounds like some sort of weird bird.
A wall throbber?
Yeah. Okay. Isn't there a bird called a throbber?
You better ask Martin, he knows about birds. If you'll pardon the expression. Stuart Fell getting to do a bit of stunty work.
Yeah. Is this his first appearance?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
It's fairly early on.
It's early on. I think of like Stuart Fell more as the little sea devil.
He looks very young, bless him.
Action Filer, as he throws himself out of Axos.
Yes.
And does a sort of a tiny stunt, and then gets up and walks away, or runs away. There's the line about sort of the light accelerator, which assumes that the TARDIS is compatible with the cyclotron. I don't know what it's doing at the Newton Power Complex. That's the thing, because I've said this isn't exactly CERN, is it?
No.
You know, CERN is a huge, great big location, whereas the Newton Power Complex, they've just got a cyclotron in a room. So it's a very weird thing to have in the same place as a power station. Yeah, let's not think too much about that.
No.
But again, it's the Baker and Martin sort of approach to science.
Obviously, thinking about because Windsor says that Sir George is very much a patron, and I'm just thinking now, has he got? Well, Windler, I should say. Has he got some sort of blackmail on him, which means he's got all this passed through? Because it seems an odd thing to have, as you say, at a power station.
Yeah.
So maybe he's got some sort of.
Oh, somebody at the door. Do you want to get that? I'll carry on speaking. All right.
I've got to get the key.
You got to get the keys. There's somebody at the door. So yes, you've got Delgado doing his stunt from the bridge. I like the fact also that there's a bit of snow in the background.
They're gone.
Are they gone? They got
gone.
fed up.
Yeah.
Okay. Probably somebody trying to sell you something.
Hello, back.
Hello. Unit soldier pretending to be driving by just going.
That's Nick Hobbs.
Yeah, Agador, isn't it? Yeah.
And he's also in Amy's Choice.
All right, okay.
It's one of the old people.
The double filer scene where he's fighting himself, I think that's really well shot.
Yes.
Because it is quite hard to tell them apart.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, I know it's Derek Ware.
Yes.
Not doing Pigbin Josh,
no.
but even so, that it's because he's got quite a simple suit.
Yes.
Costume and stuff like that.
Probably just the hair's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah. And Foam Machine Ahoy again.
Yes.
As fake filer goes in and gets turned into foam. Why doesn't the Brigadier know what the word replicated mean? It does. Yes. It does indicate he's a bit dim, but never mind. Joe's throwaway line about axonite, the copying molecule, is, I think, I don't know, to me, it indicates that Jo is very, very well up on science, and she's so throwing that away. Obviously, it's just a copying molecule, but again, the sort of ins and outs of it are never quite explained.
No.
It's still slightly vague, but never mind. No? Other way? Page 4. Tim Pickett-Smith, bless him, the way he delivers the line, take his gun, as though they're all separate sentences.
Yes.
Bless. And it's his elementary bugging device, which is about the size of a shoebox. Like nobody's noticed it stuck under the desk.
Well, they haven't.
Yes. Greyhound to Trap 1, Greyhound to Trap 1. Well, we've sort of done your Greyhound story before, haven't we? But wasn't it who was it? Your relative?
My grandfather used to train greyhounds.
Train greyhounds,
yes.
or race them.
Well, train and race them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're up to the speed of light now. When they say it, the fact that it's a dial and it's a bit twitchy when it goes up means that actually when they say that, the dial is reading about speed of light 1.2. So we've already broken the realms of physics by achieving that. That's the thing about dials, they can be a bit wobbly. You sort of tap them and they go up on their own. The Briggs escape attempt from when he's like being held by Tim Pickett-Smith. There is a bit of a wobbly wall at that point. I don't know if you noticed it, but yes. So, what's that?
I don't know. It's your writing.
Oh yeah, we're up to speed of light times 2 now, and more foam machine sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But when is it Windsor gets zapped because he sort of touches the stuff?
It's Winlet, isn't it?
No, Windsor.
I thought the first time.
Winlet's in Seeds of Doom.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, getting confused.
And his face collapses and all that, and again, it's slightly edited. But again, I never quite made the connection watching it. The first 23 times, because you get the Axon blanket monster, don't you? And
duvet monster.
The duvet monster, and I assume that is Windsor having been transformed into the monster.
Oh, I thought he just disappeared.
Well, this is it, because he goes up to it. There's the foam in the stuff.
Yeah.
There's a spark. He collapses. His body disappears, and then where his body is.
He's an accident.
So I assume he's like earthing the axonite. And either the axonite just forms there, or turns his body into that thing.
Never really thought about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's again, there's no line to cover it,
no.
so I don't know quite what's going on. And we get another couple of nice Axon close-ups.
Yes.
Almost replicating the end of part 1.
Yes. Well, there's probably only so many ways you can shoot them.
Can you shoot the Axons? And for the notes, I love the fact that some of the Axons are referred to as globby Axons, and that sounds like the name of some bloke, doesn't it? Like his nickname. This is like Jim Axons.
Well, there is an antiques expert that's called Will Axon.
Okay, yeah.
Because you've commented on it when we've seen him and stuff.
Yeah, all right, but Globby Axon sounds like some sort of musical act, doesn't he? He comes on and tells dreadful jokes about sort of the speed of light or something like that. But again, really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Zips along. Lots to enjoy in there.
Yes.
Lots to scare the kids, I think.
Yes.
And some nice sort of acting and characterisation. And I've lost the thing down the crack. Hang on, down the crack in the sofa. The sofa's eaten my remote control.
Okay.
So there you are. There's a Claws of Axos, episode 2. A quick plug for the Shy Life podcast, which we will hopefully be helping with
later
tonight, which I suppose is going to be the Easter one.
Yes. Well, the Easter one's today.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. It's the live show.
It is. Yeah.
So if you want to join us in the chat room on Pride, was it Pride 48?
48. Yes.
I have to think. Pride48.com, 9 o'clock tonight.
Yeah.
Come and be very silly with us and
yes.
Paul.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully somebody can join us.
Okay.
See you soon then.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.